Prosecutor Santiago, thank you for coming today. I wish you would have maybe reached out and given me a heads up. I mean, I found out about this bill in the dark of night, so I'm wondering, how did you find out about today?
I will say I thought this was a miracle that this moved so fast, but on Friday evening I was told that there was a possibility this would come about. I didn't have a chance to read this until Saturday, so it was with very quick succession. I didn't know that it was going to happen. I actually happened to be here. I was going to be here on another provision that we were standing opposed to in a different committee, and of course, being near and dear to my heart, I wanted to make sure I was here. I wanted to reach out to you. I apologize in advance for not doing that.
So because one of the issues is, and I understand the issues that can happen with prosecution, but the problem I have with this bill, and unfortunately, I'm one of the Debbie Downers. I know there's that skit for Saturday Night Live. I tend to be that person in this committee because I think big promises are made with bills that they're going to do something to protect people who are desperately needing help, and this is not going to do it. And the reason being that this bill, and I know you say it's similar to the Immigration Trust Act, but right now, this bill, the way that we've defined federal civil law enforcement in such a broad way, it really does tie the hands of law enforcement and people like you from engaging in issues related to immigration. So this is why I ask these questions. This is why I usually am the Debbie Downer to say, we're doing something, but we're going to do something that creates, as you've already highlighted, litigation, and not have the results that everyone thinks they're getting today. Wouldn't you agree?
So one of the concerns that I see in the Safe Communities Act ultimately is that we can't prohibit federal law enforcement officers from exercising their rights on what they're supposed to be doing on acting and going to sensitive areas. I think there should be barriers, and the policies that are being required would announce policies that can make more clear where public access is allowed and where public access is not allowed. I think that clarification would provide both the federal law enforcement officers exercising their requirements to enact civil immigration enforcement responsibilities, and it would not create a scenario which is I'm more concerned about is how are we going to enforce that? Are we going to contact local law enforcement and say a federal agent has gone into a non-public access area and ask for a local officer
Correct.
to arrest a federal agent? I don't think we want to have a concern where there's now a confliction between two enforcement agencies, but that's a concern I have for the safety and welfare of our law enforcement, is how we're going to enforce such a rule. I think the policies would make sense in creating rules, but the enforcement is a concern that I think I have overall for the safety and welfare of our officers.
And it would be fair to say in this short time that you've learned about it as well, you haven't had the chance to talk to our local law enforcement agencies in Monmouth County to figure out how we're going to implement this. Is that correct?
That is accurate. I would, in the normal course of action, I would certainly have conversations with our local police departments and have any input. I did reach out to the other prosecutors in our state to advise them of the pendency of this hearing, some of which were here today. And again, I know I heard Assemblywoman Flynn's comments earlier about the Attorney General's office. I didn't see anything from the Attorney General's office. They're not going to
testify. I'll give you the heads up. But they won't tell you. We're not going to hear from them. We hear from press releases from the AG's office. They don't come here.
But I am aware of the fact that they are at least aware of the existence of this legislation on short notice, but they are aware that it exists, though.
Okay. Thank you, Prosecutor Santiago, and thank you to all the witnesses. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.